Hey everybody. I've had a I've had meditation on the brain lately, and I'm still doing holotropic breathing, and it's not having the same exact effect on me anymore. I am still getting this tingling electric feeling in my fingers that feels overwhelming if I go too deep into it, and I have to stop. And it's not just because I'm scared of what level I'm gonna get to or something like that. It's because my hands they get like they start clenching up, and it's rather uncomfortable. It feels like my hands are gonna what do you say? What's the word? Seize, like a seizure. It feels like my hands are gonna have a seizure when I'm doing this holotropic breathing, listening to some sort of drums, shamanic holotropic breathing. I get this tingling, really high vibrating energy in my hands, mainly, somewhat in my chest, but it's usually in my hands, and they get kind of like numb and immobile. So I just have to kind of go slow with it. I'm considering going to a breathwork session in Joshua Tree, California. The only problem is that it coincides with a Reno chess tournament that I want to go to with my buddy, and I don't know which one's more important. Speaking of chess, I played a tournament today here in San Francisco, and started off really well. My first opponent was 1200 rated, and he played really well. I did win the game, but it was close. The second game was a 1500 rated opponent, and she blundered her queen. My rating is 1833. Should go up a little bit with this tournament, hopefully. But third opponent was 2357, which is international master level. I don't know if he's titled or not, but I beat him, and it was a slow game, and it was solid. I didn't win on time. Didn't win on tricks, nothing like that. I just played well. So I'm very happy with that win. That's the highest rated opponent I've ever beaten. It gives me confidence and the knowledge that I can perform at that level, even right now with my very low amount of study and preparation. But I do need to work on consistency. So, and then the fourth game was against a 2200, where I played pretty well, but then I ended up blundering what should have been a drawn position at the end, and that kind of got me off on a shaky sort of a feeling for the last game. And the last game I fell into some bishop takes f2, which I saw and I thought I had calculated, but I didn't calculate it, and I ended up getting checkmated. So I was 3 out of 5. Good tournament. I mean, I beat the 2350. I was very happy about that, but I could have done. I feel like the result could have been 4.5 out of 5 if I had drawn that one game and beat the last player was 1800. But it was a good tournament. Anyway, meditation. Speaking of meditation, I'm very curious about getting into altered states of mind, or as Stanislav Grof calls it, non-ordinary consciousness, or non-ordinary reality. The way he describes it, people in these sessions they'll have like an LSD trip type of experience, but without LSD. It's just with breathing and music. That's it. And that's very appealing to me. I'm not really interested in taking drugs. I'm not really interested in taking LSD right now. Maybe at some point, not right now so much. I'm more interested in going gently and at my pace, instead of drugs just kind of like throw you into the water, you know. You don't know if it's going to be freezing. You don't know if there's going to be sharks in there. So anyway, I'm considering doing this because I'm also looking into what I can do as a profession, because that's still bugging me and I'm still driving Uber. I have to do meditation in between rides so I don't go insane just from it's not even just monotony, it's just you're driving strangers around, you know? There's no connection. You can make a connection for 5 minutes, but it's not a community type of a thing. It's a service and you get paid for it, and that's about it. So I'm interested in checking out one of these holotropic breathwork sessions and participating, and if I feel like it's valuable for me, then I'm interested in getting certified and being able to give sessions myself. And I'm also looking into life coach certification. I feel like my role is somewhat of, not of a therapist, but a guide, a coach. We have teaching running in the family, but I don't especially want to insert into the public school system. I mean, I'm kind of in it because I'm coaching chess, and that's public school setting, but I have complete freedom to do what I want in that setting. Anyway, back to meditation. I was thinking about this guy Gurdjieff, George Gurdjieff. I don't know how you pronounce it. Gurdjieff. But anyway, I read his book. It was something about Beelzebub, letters to Beelzebub or something. And this guy is talking to Beelzebub, who's presumably the devil, but he's not portrayed as the devil normally is. He's portrayed as this being that has been sort of exiled from his normal realm, but it's not a I cast you out forever into hell type of thing. It's more like a punishment for doing whatever he did. And that book was really interesting, and studying Gurdjieff was really interesting as well. The basic premise of his time on Earth is that he traveled the world with a bunch of people in their mission that they decided on was they wanted to find out truth or wisdom, or what's the reality of this reality in the most honest way possible, and they figured the best way to do that would be travel all around and talk to the wise people all over the world. And they started out with something like 20 people, and it lasted, Gurdjieff's whole life. But according to Ouspensky, his I guess you could call him a disciple or his closest follower, according to that guy, Gurdjieff was the only one left out of his group that kept going. All the rest of them either got caught up in a certain spot, found a girl, had a family, or started working or did whatever. Gurdjieff was the only one who kept going, and he's considered kind of a guru, but he didn't speak like normal gurus did. He spoke very he spoke in parables, basically, like how Jesus did in the Bible. He didn't just say things directly. He said sort of a story, and he wanted you to get something out of that, but you don't necessarily know what he wanted you to get out of it. But anyway, something that kind of stuck out when I was reading the book, I don't know if it was the book that Ouspensky wrote, or if it was just something I saw about Gurdjieff, but it was saying at the end of his life, or close to the end of his life, he intentionally wrecked his car, and a really bad car wreck, and he somehow escaped with hardly any injuries. And I just thought that was interesting, because he was performing sort of an experiment. He was figuring out what exactly is going on here, and testing the body to its limits. Meditation, I'm sure, was involved in all forms of it. Dance. He had this one, or he was known for these dances that he would have these people perform, and at the certain right instant, the music would stop, or like people would fall off the stage 5 or 6 feet, but they were so in tune with his choreography, they were so in tune with him, that they didn't get hurt. It had something to do with synchronizing all of this stuff into like a perfect, I don't even know what you could call that, but if a whole crowd of people falls off of a ledge that's 5 or 6 feet tall and none of them gets hurt, then something different is going on there. Something different is going on. So anyway, my main point that I wanted to make with this video is that, as far as meditation is concerned, is that we have this, we have this reality, we have this, physical reality. We call it third density. Some of us call it that. Call it Earth. Whatever you want to call it. We're here. And at some point, you kind of realize that it's not as real as it seems. It's more like a movie or something. It's more like a play. They say it's a divine play. Whatever. It doesn't need to be divine. Our play isn't very divine right now. We have kind of a shitty play going on, but so you have this, you have the physical reality, and then you have the unmanifest, or the base, or God, or whatever. There's not any words for it, but it's a place where, before all this pops into existence, however it does. I'm not claiming to know how at all, and I don't think anybody or any humans really know how it happens, but the idea is that, everything comes from the source. The source is just the source of all this, however that is. And the idea is that this source versus manifest reality is also a duality. It's not outside of duality. Perhaps the witness, the witness of everything, which is in me, which is in you, could be considered the non-dual, because it's witnessing everything and there's no opposite to it. But when you're considering this reality versus unmanifest, 0 point, pregnant void, whatever you want to call it, where nothing has manifested yet, when you're here as a human, there's a yearning to get back to the source, to get back to your home, basically, which is that which is prior to all manifestation, and which is not bound by time. It's not bound by space. It's not bound by all of the limitations that come along with living in this reality. So when we're here, especially if we're dealing with issues, and of course you have to, you have to know of these things in the first place. You have to know of meditation. You have to know of these concepts to understand what I'm saying. But it's a tug of war. So there's a part of me that wants to go back to source and be done with having to make money and, not fitting in with the crowd, not caring about the things that the crowd cares about, wanting some sort of a community. There's that wants to go back to source. But then once you're back in source creates. So you're not ever just gonna get to nirvana and stay there forever. If that was true, then you wouldn't be here right now. This is like very simple. I wouldn't be here right now. That's very simple logic. So what I kind of get out of that is that you need to be moving towards source, and you need to be doing what's genuine to you. But at the same time, you need to take it easy. Take it slowly. Don't just rush into this thing where you pop out of existence, because I know it happens. I know it can happen. I can feel it in me. I can feel that I have the potential to just go back there and not, be in the manifest reality. But I don't want that. I want some sort of a mix. I want a little more knowledge of it and more experiences with people that are also, on some sort of a similar level. And I also want to do this in a natural way, not by popping pills or getting high or whatever. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, so meditation. So yeah, that's about all I have for right now. Just some thoughts on some topics. Just meandering thoughts. Anyway, if you made it this far, then thanks for hanging out with me for 17 minutes. And I'll see you in the next one. All right, take care.